Hey everyone, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Within Destruction guitarist Fang. I had Howard come back onto the podcast to talk about the band's brand new album Animetal, continuing to inject anime and manga influences in their music, taking on more vocal duties this time around, his favourite type of ramen, and loads more. But before we get into all of that, if you do enjoy the podcast, then I would really appreciate it if you could take some time right now to support it in any way that you can. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out, and that way you also don't miss out on any future episodes. You can leave a review or a comment. You can follow the podcast on social media, and if you did want to go one step further, there's also a Patreon and there's a web store too. To make it super easy, I've shoved links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all that out of the way, here's my chat with Howard Fang of Within Destruction. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Howard of Within Destruction. How's it going, dude?
Great, man. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited. I know we talked together like 2 years ago, so I'm really happy to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you, dude. And I think, your hair's a lot longer than last time you were on here, so yeah,
Yeah, finally decided to do it, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I haven't had like long hair in my life ever, so this is like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it now, you know. So
yeah. Why
yeah.
not? I think it's always like trying to get it to like it gets to a point where it's like an awkward stage, isn't it? It just kind of looks a bit funny, and it's kind of hard to kind of maintain. And then once you break through that
Yeah.
barrier, you're sorted.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll be wearing hats for a long time, and then after that, you're good. But
Yeah, definitely, dude. Well, let's go on to the band. Obviously, this is I think it's your sixth album, Animetal, that came out just a little while ago now, a few weeks ago, via Sumerian Records. How do you feel that's kind of been sitting with the fans?
from my point of view, I think it's been really great. People have been really receptive about it. They love the new direction that we're going in. I mean, it's kind of been the same trajectory as, Yokai into Lotus, and now Animetal is like the culmination of sounds that make sense in terms of where we're going. Of course, you're gonna have people that still want the Death Wish, Void, like deathcore kind of sound, which I totally understand. But in terms of where we are in like our musical journey, like this is what we want to do and this is what we love to do. So I'm really happy that fans are really on board with this one, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to tour this cycle, man.
Yeah. I think with the whole like slam metal, deathcore kind of thing, I think that's just unfortunately like the way that kind of a lot of that genre and community is, right? But I mean, you did the Rebirth EP, in 2023, I think towards the end of 2023. So I think that kind of silenced some of the naysayers, because I think sometimes you'll get like fans who like a band that was very heavy and has kind of changed, and they'll say things like, oh well, they couldn't do that stuff again, like they'll never be able to do heavy music again. But put out something like the Rebirth EP and
Sure.
that shuts them up.
Yeah, exactly. Like that whole EP for us was more of I mean, it was kind of a passion project because, yeah, of course, we still really like heavy music and we'd still love to do heavy music. So it's kind of like almost like a side quest, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like Lotus, Yokai, Lotus, and Animetal are kind of like the main missions, but like, you got some free time, so let's do a side quest, let's do something a little more old school for our deathcore fans. And yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. But um, I don't know if we did it to like silence the naysayers, but I
yeah.
guess like that is one of the outcomes for it. But at the same time, like we just did it because we wanted to do it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's kind of how we operate, you know?
Yeah, it's just a byproduct. It's not like that wasn't your intention. You just wanted to do it because you wanted to do it.
Or
And I think that's kind of the way, that's how these last three albums have gone anyway, isn't it? Like, obviously there's people that don't like them because they like the earlier stuff, but why would you care? You want to do stuff that you like, because if you're just going to make stuff that you don't want to write, that's no fun for you. Eventually that'll be no fun for the
exactly,
fans, because it'll come across like that.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, with this new album, you're leaning even further like into the anime and manga influences and references that's been pretty prominent across the previous two records anyway. To the point where you've literally got anime in the album's title, and you worked with
Yeah.
Crunchyroll for one of the videos as well. For you, when does that crossover kind of like come into play when you're making the music? Like when does the idea of like let's kind of bring the the anime stuff into there? And do you feel like there's a kind of like a big share in like the Venn diagram of heavy metal music fans and anime fans?
So how did it come into play? I think more it's more of the sonic elements of it, as in like the OSTs for some of these animes. Everything is very like high energy, and I don't know. There's just this sort of sense of movement with all these songs that are like in the beginning of these animes. Like my favorite one is from Tokyo Ghoul. That's probably like one of the most well-known ones from like the first two. I think from the first season. It was only on the first season.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like it's melodic and it's really catchy. It's heavy at at parts, but it kind of like it's got this like action movie type of feeling to it, and that's kind of how I approached this album and how we like viewed these songs. Like some of the like, of course, you have like your slower songs, but you know, for example, the anime, the title track Animetal, like that's literally the inspiration of that. It's just to this needs to feel like it can be the opening to a like an anime, you know. And in terms of the Venn diagram between heavy metal fans and anime fans, yeah, I do think there's a lot of crossover. You know, they're quite alternative cultures. A lot of anime is rather dark, and I feel like a lot of metal musicians tend to gravitate towards that. Um, and people tend to like the storytelling that comes in anime, and you know, yeah, it's in metal music as well. Like there's a lot of bands with great lyrics, great storytelling. So there's kind of that crossover, like when you're inspired by like these like the stories that these animes tell, you kind of see you can kind of get the same kind of meaning in music. So yeah, I do see a lot of crossovers. There's a lot of bands out there that have anime like merch or songs inspired by anime. So yeah, we're definitely not the only ones by any means, but yeah, we're very inspired by that, so we lean heavily into that.
Yeah. Was that kind of I guess the checklist when you were writing a lot of these songs on this album? Like, would this sound out of place if we were to try and put this as the opening theme to like an anime series that's out there?
Um, what it wasn't necessarily a checklist. I think ultimately the songs, if they fit the general vibe of the album, then it would probably it might make the cut. You know, like we'll put it for selection for the final album, or we'll work with it until it feels like it can fit in the album. All the songs kind of have quite similar instrumentation in terms of like yeah, obviously like the drums, bass, and guitars, but also like a lot of synths. It needs to be it needs to be quite atmospheric. There needs to be a lot of like textures going on. Yeah, if a song doesn't have like an action feel or a very atmospheric vibe, it's not gonna make it. So um, kind of yes and no.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it in terms of like, oh, is this gonna sit well in an anime like intro for all of them, you know? But
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, like if they sit well in an anime intro, that's a big plus for us.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah,
bonus points really if that just happens. Um, yeah, I mean, and speaking of that,
yeah,
and we mentioned the kind of working alongside Crunchyroll for one of the videos for the title track. Um, that's just like an insane animated video that you guys put together. Just tell me how that all came about. Like, how did that come to be that, to the video that we see today?
yeah. Thank you. So how that came about was, I think it's very inspired by Evangelion, the anime. So it kind of all stemmed from how we wanted to visually represent the album. So a big part of that is like how do we want to have the main album cover? You know, like what are the things what are the like very iconic elements that are in anime. So I think what goes really well with our kind of music is like just a massive, like a big ass mech, that fights kaijus. Like, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it. We just at the end of the day, we just wanted to look and feel like it's a like this like Hollywood, not Hollywood, like this Japanese like action movie with just these like main iconic anime tropes into it. So it's more of like a visual thing. And then we approached our team in Japan, Eva and Shun from Japan, and we just told them, hey, this is like what we visually want. We want also a band performance, but like these are kind of the main themes and the main like visual things we want to see. And they just had a storyboard, and we loved it. So that's pretty much how it went. Yeah, we kind of let them handle all of that because like I feel like they have the minds for better more so than us. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
how
I
it
mean,
happened.
it must have kind of been weird for you guys, right? Because obviously, obviously the mech isn't there, right? And you're playing like with green screens and stuff like that, and it comes in afterwards. So I guess like you're
Yeah,
kind of there, like imagining like this is all taking place around you, and then it's not until obviously you pass it to the team, they do
yeah,
their bits and they send it across to you that you actually see the obviously the final
yeah.
picture. So what was that like for you to see the end product? Like, was it beyond like your expectations as to what was actually gonna come out of all that?
I mean, like seeing how the drafts and the storyboards are versus like, and then like being at the set with the green screen and then seeing everything like in post production. It's insane how that happens. It really does blow my mind how incredibly talented and skilled these people are when it comes to bringing an idea to life. So, and for me, for me personally, when I was shooting it, it was just you're performing, you're just playing.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like you're just like any other music video, right? Like you try to really uh, capture the essence of the song and like really go for it for the video. And yeah, so for me, it's just more of a performance, but it's more of the end product that was really surprising to me. Like I'm like, damn, I can't believe like this was possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it would be cool as well. Like, obviously, this is kind of talking like huge budget and kind of huge kind of arena shows. But if you had like when you were playing that song, like a animatronic huge mech that comes out on stage with you, that would just be awesome. They'd bring it to life.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, exactly. That would be so sick. One day when we have the budget for that, that's definitely a thing we're gonna try to do. Having more like out of the world production, um, for sure. That's a great idea, actually. I never thought about that, but yeah, an act because I've thought about like maybe just like having like an animated like sequence going on in the background. That's like it's not the music video, right? It's like
yeah,
something new, but based on the things that are happening in the music video that like are kind of happening in sync with the music. But I've never thought about having an actual mech. That would be cool.
yeah. That'd be really cool. Well, if you've got any,
Yeah.
millionaire fans that are listening and want to kind of invest, now's the time to do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so we briefly mentioned earlier, you signed with Sumerian for this album. You put out the previous two records independently. So I guess firstly, how did that signing come about and how have they kind of helped things this time around that maybe were, I guess, a bit more maybe difficult or time consuming when it comes to, doing that kind of stuff independently?
Yeah, sure. So it actually took us some time to find a label that really suited us. Like we've had discussions and offers in the past, but they weren't really for us. We like coming from such a long like history of the band now of being independent. We were capable of doing all like most of the functions that a label would be able to do for us. But when we found Sumerian, that it was yeah it like for example a challenge for us in the past was getting our physicals like into into like stores. A really big goal is supposed to get our music into shelves in Japan, Tower Records in Japan, and a bunch of other like distributors in Japan. For us, it was not that it wasn't really possible. We didn't have the connections for it. And then like after we got onto Sumerian, like we talked about the goals that I mean, even before we signed on to Sumerian, we talked about the goals that we wanted to achieve with this release. And yeah, they were able to do that for us. We had when the album was released, like there it was like in Japan, which is like damn okay, like that's a really good sign that it's working out, you know. Um, yeah, and in terms of everything else, like marketing and the planning, like they've been very helpful with the content flow that we're going for. So yeah, now it's kind of nice to have a little more guidance as to what we want to do. Kind of, I mean, in the end of the day, it's still like our choice as to what we want to do. They're not pushing us to do anything.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's really good. It's really good to have guidance like that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess they just like
Yeah.
help out and give you like a steer on different things. They might have like connections that you don't, just make things a little bit easier and alleviate some of the responsibilities that you guys would have and have to do independently. Um, I guess they also kind of help with with merch as well as like the distribution of the album. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm gonna pose a question to you that you guys floated on your social media about a unique merch item you've got. What's your favorite flavor of ramen?
What's my favorite flavor of ramen? Um, from which brand? Is there like do we were we talking about brands or are we talking
You
about just like in general, like
you go for whatever
flavors?
you want, dude. Yeah.
All right, so I really like I don't know if this counts as ramen, but it's the Korean um do I have it here? Let me see if I have it here. I might have it
Yeah.
here. Oh yeah. This I love this stuff, dude. Like it's like bulldog.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like ridiculously spicy ramen. Yeah, it's not with. I don't think this one's with soup. This one's like stir fried on the pan.
Right.
This is like my top. I'm gonna eat this like as soon as we're done with this interview. This is what's gonna happen. This is awesome. Really spicy. I also really like this Thai brand called Mama.
Right.
It's like the classic Thai brand of like it's it's like it's just like soup noodles, same thing like as in like the cup noodle ones. So that's something that I love from Thailand. But like a Japanese one would be I forgot the brand, but they sell it in Family Mart, and it's like the regular tonkatsu. Like it's like if you went into a restaurant and got like a tonkatsu ramen, that's kind of what it is. But it's like $1, and it's great.
That's cool.
Yes. So those are three. Those are three of my favorite ones. If you ask me for like my favorite one, I couldn't give it to you, man.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to narrow it down from those three. But those are it.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Yeah.
it probably changes depending on what kind of mood you're in and stuff. Yeah, but those bulldog ones are really good because they've got like
Mhm.
it's like I think it's like a garlic infused one. It's kind of like a purple colored packaging. Because there's like an Asian
Oh
supermarket here
yeah,
that's that they've got like all the ranges and you've got like bulldog sauce and stuff like that. So yeah, you can get pretty much anything you want from there.
yeah, dude. It's sick, and they have the carbonara as well, which
Yeah.
is like I didn't think I had my doubts about it, but it's great. So
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, shout out, Bulldog, dude.
Do
Yeah.
you shove like extra cheese in there as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's you don't have to have any eggs in there. You just stir fry it in the pan, and it's already like a carbonara. And you can put more cheese in it. You can do whatever you want with it, but it's like spicy and it's a carbonara. It's great.
The greatest combo. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I guess like if we go back to the album, I mean, you briefly mentioned this earlier anyway, like stylistically, um, no, much like Lotus was the logical next step from Yokai, it seems like Animetal is the next logical step from Lotus. Was there anything in particular from Lotus that you wanted to, like you really like these parts or these parts really popped off live or whatever that you wanted to kind of like go further with and emphasize on Animetal?
Yeah, sure. Choruses were pretty much the number one thing that came into mind. Being a deathcore band in the past, you don't really get a lot of like the sing-alongs, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
we've had songs on Lotus with like bigger choruses, like Toxic and Nightmare, and we only play them live. It's this weird shift that you see from like you when you're playing the heavy songs in the past, you see people like moshing in the pit, getting kind of rowdy. But when you're playing songs like Toxic and Nightmare, people are singing along, like, and that's so new for us. You know, they're like standing there, they're still moving, but they're singing. You know what I mean? And that's
yeah,
something we wanted to like capitalize. Is like we like the big hooks, and we've never really tried to have like choruses be such a main focus. So that's what we wanted to capitalize on with Animetal. So every song has a chorus now. Every song's got singing. So that's the big push for this one for sure. What else? I guess we were always kind of production heavy since Yokai. Lots of synths, lots of like percussion beats and stuff, electronic elements, and that's always kind of carried the past three albums. Yeah, kind of bumped that up a little more on Animetal as well. So yeah, I would say those are the main two things when it comes to this new album.
yeah, yeah. I guess like yeah, the kind of with the choruses and the hooks, like you want that kind of like memorability factor into it, right? And that's kind of
Yeah,
you've kind of blend into that quite a lot into this album, it seems.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And it seems like as well, like you're taking on much more of a role in terms of like, backup and clean vocals, which is something you pushed a little bit on Lotus, but I think a lot of the correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of like the clean sing was more like pitch screams, whereas
yeah.
now you're doing like a lot of like, actual melodic singing. How's that been for you, like especially live, having to kind of maintain that? Because I guess sometimes you're in the studio and you want to like hit these specific notes, and then it's kind of like, can I
Sure.
one replicate that live, but on a consistent basis without blowing my throat, like my voice out?
Yeah, so that's so real, dude. Because when you're in the studio, like you just do anything you can to get the notes out. And when you're writing and doing pre-production, like you're tracking maybe like a few lines together, but like you're basically at 100% when you're doing these lines. And then yeah, maybe in the studio, like there's more of a stamina thing that comes into account because you can't go too hard, you'll blow your voice, and then you can't track anymore. With live, it's more of okay, how do I get through this month and like be able to sing these songs every single day? So you kind of figure out you kind of figure out like different techniques. So what I noticed is my head, like my chest and my head voice switching back and forth. It's like really hard for me. So
Right.
especially live, like I find it so hard to like switch from like chest voice to a head voice. Like also with volume as well, because my head voice is way softer than my chest. So it's like at that point, instead of doing the head voice, I'm gonna like do like a scream, but try to like pitch it a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I don't really know how to pitch scream, but when you're doing like a higher scream, it's kind of like you're kind of getting some sort of pitch. So I'm not doing the head voice stuff live, and if something's too difficult or like way too high and like like way too technical for me, I'll like literally just change the line, you
Fair
know,
enough.
the melody line, yeah. Instead of like going up, maybe it will ascend, and that high note will be replaced to like a not so high note, but it still fits. It's not too different. So yeah, live also it's not too bad because it's not like I'm singing throughout the whole set.
Yeah.
I'm singing during choruses, and I'm like maybe in the set I'm singing like 50% of the songs because we're still playing old songs. So yeah, man, new challenges, but I'm all up for that. I think the most nerve-wracking thing for me was putting these songs out with my clean vocals so out front because that's never happened before, and I don't know. I have no idea if like they're good or not. You know, at first when we did these pre-production songs, I was like, damn, I hope these vocals are like passable or like good. So back in Lotus, oh damn, not even back in Lotus, like back in Yokai days, like I remember you know that song Dying World? I think it's on Yokai.
I
No,
think it is, yeah.
it's on no, it's on Lotus. It's either on
Right.
Lotus or on Yokai, but you know how there's there's a feature um, and it's like all clean vocals. Originally, during that bridge, it's the feature is the Lotus.
Oh
During
yeah,
that
yeah.
bridge, it's like all cleans. Originally on the pre-production demo, I tried like just singing over that, and it was so bad. You know what I mean? Like so,
Yeah.
and that was only like that was only like a few years ago. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
it was like a lot of working on like how do I write like vocals and how do I like actually sing and find like my singing voice. And a lot of it is just like listening to people that you like and basically copying them until like you get to the point where it's like you kind of know you kind of get a feeling of what's going on and then eventually you make that into your own. So that was the most nerve-wracking thing for me, for sure. Like, but like now that it's out and it's been some time, it's fine.
Yeah. I guess like with vocals, like more than any other instrument, like it's a bit more vulnerable because it's literally your voice. Like you can't really change that. And I guess not that obviously
Yeah.
unclean vocals are easier, but they're different on like you can kind of mask it between the distortion if you kind of like miss a bit of a note or something like that. Whereas you don't really have as much wiggle room when you do
Yeah.
clean singing. So
Yeah, exactly. It's I've like yeah, you can like when I'm doing pre-productions and when it's like in the studio, like we have like a vocal chain that will make your voice sound good. But when it's like when you first set everything up and it's just like you and the microphone and it's like direct, there's nothing happening. It's weird, dude. Like
yeah,
it's just weird hearing your own voice. Like that's something to get used to. But eventually you get used to it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, still
Do
a
you
long
have
way to go. Like I still feel like there's a lot of improvements to be done, but you know, it's part of the journey.
exactly like practice makes perfect, and as with anything, like the more you do it, the better you get. So just keep on going.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I know obviously you're not doing like all of the vocals whilst you're playing live, but do you have to kind of think a bit more about in terms of like keeping your voice healthy when you're on the road?
Um, I don't really think about that much.
Okay.
Like, I've never been so sick where I couldn't sing.
Right.
Um, and I feel like if I got sick, it wouldn't be as bad as if like if Rock got sick. Because if he got sick, like he wouldn't be able to scream at all. So I feel like he's more conscious about that than I am. But
Yeah.
yeah, like obviously, like maybe the one thing that I don't do now when I'm on tours, maybe like I don't eat something super spicy that like really messes with me.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the only thing, you know.
Yeah, 'cause I've heard like some vocalists like they'll get if they get acid reflux because they've had like too much spicy food or they've had too much alcohol or whatever, that can really like mess up their vocal cords and then therefore their singing. So yeah, I just didn't know if like maybe
Yeah,
you
for
changed a few
sure.
things on the road or anything like that, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, we're all pretty I guess everyone's pretty like health conscious. Like no one drinks, no one smokes, so it's yeah, it's pretty chill for us.
yeah, yeah. So no bull deck's gonna kind of like potentially cut you all off.
That's not gonna happen on tour. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I know you're someone who's like always writing new music. I think you're just constantly writing music all the time. So, are you already kind of looking at what's going to come next after Animetal? Like what the next stage is of Within Destruction?
Sure. Yeah. Always writing. I feel like writing music is a thing that you have to practice. Um, and even if it's not like, to be honest, even if we didn't have like obligations to like put out songs or whatever, I would still be writing, because I want to put these ideas down, and like it's always good to keep that train going. Um, yeah, I can't really say and what is coming next because we're
Mm.
still like figuring that out. But yeah, it's always it's always going. And I also write for like other bands and like other artists, and I do production and everything like that. So like even outside the band, like that's something that I'm always doing.
What other bands and artists do you work with, or you've done stuff for recently?
So in the past, I worked a lot with this band from the Netherlands, Distant. They're a deathcore band.
Oh yeah.
Um, done a lot of work with them. There's a band on US called Reminiscence. They're on the come up, and there's a lot of clients. Like I've got a few clients in Taiwan, and yeah, they're just kind of like scattered everywhere. Yeah, like but they're mostly like heavy bands. So I do want to get into writing with more like mainstream bands, I guess, just to out of that um, get out of that like circle, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of like branch out to other areas and like yeah, like say get some more acts that focus more on like you say pop melodies or pop structures and like I don't know like even if it's just
yeah,
like pop punk bands or post-hardcore because obviously they deal a lot with like melody and cleans and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would love to. I'm working a lot with production stuffs now, so it's like a lot of synths and effects for bands that want to take their songs to like a next level. So yeah, so I get in touch with a lot of different kind of music, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've heard recently you've been getting a bit of an ear for country music. So does that mean we're gonna potentially see some country influence on the next Within Destruction album?
Damn, how do you know
Uh,
that? Yes, I had a I guess last year was a big country year for me for sure, but mostly because of the songwriting, like
mm,
the lyrics, how everything, like how the storytelling is. I'm really into that. It's just like it's really catchy. So I don't know if I'd be able to write like that, to be honest. It's so like personal, and it's so direct, the lyrics, and the like our band is more, I feel like our lyrics are a bit more vague and indirect, so that people can latch onto the songs with their own meanings easier, because like I don't know, like when I listen to a country song, it's awesome, but like dude, I don't live on a farm and I don't have a truck, so it's like not
yeah,
really relatable for me, but
yeah,
like I love how it sounds, and I don't know, it's just great music.
yeah,
Yeah, but I
yeah.
don't know, if like that's gonna be something that we're gonna do, to be honest, because it really is a lifestyle. It really is a lifestyle thing, It's like,
Yeah,
dude, like yeah, I feel like you can't just do that.
yeah. It'd be quite a left turn for you guys. And I know like from Death Wish to Yokai, that was kind of like a left turn for a few fans. So you can just go even that'd be even more of a turn,
Yeah.
I'd think. But I mean, like you got bands like Bill Murray who kind of
Although,
do it.
yeah, dude. And also that Falling in Reverse song that's like kind of country. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Although
Like
I will say like Slovenian like country music and folk music is like huge here, and it's pretty much the number one genre. So I think financially it would make sense for us to just like make Slovenian country music, but like none of us really have any experience with how to do that or like how to write like that. So I think we're just gonna stick to um, metalcore.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Country influenced anime inspired metalcore is quite the unique selling point, I guess.
yeah, yeah. That's It's very weird looking Venn diagram for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, I guess what other plans have you guys got going so far for 2025?
So we got some European festivals happening. We're going to Romania in like 2 weeks. We're playing the Impericon. That's gonna be awesome. That's like I think it's like only 2 or 3 days now, whereas like before it's like multiple cities. But now it's just gonna be like this huge thing. So I'm really excited. I'm kind of nervous, but it's gonna be great. Um, yeah, just for now, just like European festivals. But of course, we're gonna tour this album as much as we can. So like we're planning on stuff. Can't say anything yet, but like things will be announced and. Yeah, happy to be back on the road, like touring these songs. I think all of us are very excited. I think like kind of getting out of like feeling like we're getting out of that like deathcore stage, because like a band like us, where we have such a diversified discography when we're playing live, I feel like I'm having an identity crisis
Yeah,
uh, when I'm playing, like oh we're like a metalcore band, oh we're a deathcore band now, well now we're back to being a
yeah,
metalcore band, but there's like a deathcore, but you know what I mean. So now it's like it's cool that our music is finally like becoming like cohesive with like the past 3 albums. But of course, we're still going to be playing some old songs. But I feel like now we're really in line with the kind of music that we're playing live and that's out. So yeah, 2025 is going to be sick. 26 is going to be awesome as well. So really looking forward to it.
awesome, dude. Yeah, it sounds really exciting. Yeah, thanks again for jumping on. Really appreciate it and having a chat with you about
Yeah, man.
Animetal and all the things that are coming up. The next album being Country. Any final words before I let you go, Howard, and enjoy the rest of your day?
um, yeah, like I guess I would like to say thank you to everyone that's streamed our album and anyone that's like come to a show, picked up merch, like talk to us. Like we're always like, and also like to our fans that have stuck with us throughout our many changes throughout the years. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without them, and it's just really it's a good feeling to know that people are like really see things. I guess are really on board with what you're doing. So I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, sick.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, thanks. I'll let you go. Enjoy your ramen, and hopefully I'll see you over in the UK soon.
All right. Thanks, man. Really good talking to you, Zach. Take
Yeah,
it
you too,
easy.
dude. Take it easy. See you later.
Oh, yeah. Peace.
And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.